The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls is proud to partner with Central Insurance Companies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcomed. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
Okay, I heard something. All right, welcome everybody. It's the Town of Queensbury regular town board meeting tonight. It's August 9th, 2021. Time is 7 p.m. And before we begin the regular agenda items, I'd appreciate it if you all would rise and join Councilman Harrison Freer in saying the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing we need to do is go in the Board of Health to set 4 public hearings. Is there a motion to move into the Queensbury Board of Health?
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Ferrone, seconded by Councilperson Freer. All those in favor of moving into the Queensbury Board of Health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous. We're now in the Queensbury Board of Health. Would you please inform the public as to 1.1, please, Caroline?
Resolution setting public hearing on sewage disposal variance application of Michelle Drahushak.
I think that's good.
Not sure.
All right, so Michelle Drahushak, 1 Chestnut Road, which is near the Docksider, just a little bit west of the Docksider. It's interesting, they have, they're asking for 4 variances. And variance 1, leach field to be 5 foot from the south property line and 9 foot 6 inches from the north property line in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. The second variance they're asking for is a force main to be 4.5 feet from the property line in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. Third variance, leach field to be 79.7 inches, 79 feet 7 inches from Glen Lake in lieu of the required 100-foot setback. Septic tank and pump station to be 2 foot from the foundation in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. And again, this is 1 Chestnut Road. It's a Glen Lake residence. And they're asking for 4 variances for the system. And we will have a public hearing on this on August 23rd, right here in the Activity Center, 7 p.m., a regular town board meeting, August 23rd. If the town board approves it. So is there a motion to set the public hearing?
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Freer,
Second.
seconded by Councilperson Brown. Roll call vote on this, please, Caroline.
Councilpersons Freer,
Yes.
Ferrone,
Yes.
McNulty.
Yes.
Stroud.
Yes. All right, 1.2, would you please inform the public, Caroline?
Resolution setting public hearing on sewage disposal variance application of Timothy Morarty.
All right, Moriarty. And Moriarty is 12 Honeysuckle Lane. This is a 3-bedroom, and they're asking for 6 variances, but they are putting in ETU, which is an enhanced treatment unit, Clarus Fusion in this system. The 6 variances that are asking for, and we'll have a public hearing on this on August 23rd. 1, the absorption bed to 88 feet from the neighboring well in lieu of the required 100-foot setback. Second variance, pump tank to be 4 foot from the property line in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. Third variance, absorption bed to be 7 foot from the property line in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. Fourth variance, absorption bed to be 2 foot from the property line in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. Fifth variance, the Clarus tank to be 5 foot from the building foundation in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. And sixth variance, absorption bed to be 10 foot from the building foundation in lieu of the required 20-foot setback. Again, if approved by the town board, this will set the public hearing for August 23rd on this residence located at 12 Honeysuckle Lane. Is there a motion to set the public hearing?
Motion.
Motion made by Councilperson McNulty, seconded by Councilperson Freer. Roll call vote on this, please. Caroline?
Councilpersons Brown,
Yes.
McNulty,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yes.
Freer.
Yes.
All right. We're setting a public hearing for August 23rd. 1.3, please inform the public, Caroline.
Resolution setting public hearing on sewage disposal variance application of Richard Cesolo.
Yeah, so Richard Cesolo, 118 Sealy Road, which is off of down Cleverdale in that area, off of Rockhurst Road, wishes to ask for a variance for a holding tank to replace the existing wastewater system. They would like to install a 1,500 gallon capacity holding tank in lieu of the 3,000 gallon capacity holding tank required to serve as sewage disposal on the property on 118 Sealy Road in the town of Queensbury. Okay.
Any indication whether they're only asking for 15 versus the required 3,000?
No, I didn't see any. That's a good
I
question.
didn't see it.
It's a legitimate question. I thought of the same question. We'll ask him on the 23rd if this board approves setting the public hearing for that date. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Brown,
Second.
seconded by Councilperson McNulty. Roll call vote on this, please.
Councilpersons McNulty,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yes.
Freer,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
And the last setting of public hearing for a sewage disposal variance, please, Caroline.
Resolution setting public hearing on sewage disposal variance application of Douglas and Christine Chalrose.
All right. They reside at 97 Fitzgerald Road. This is another Glen Lake property. And this is Fitzgerald Road is off of Manus. And they would like to put holding tank system consisting of 2 holding tanks, each with a capacity of 1,500 gallons, meeting the required total capacity of 3,000 gallons. They're asking for 3 variances, 4 variances. 1, the holding tank will be 3.6 feet from the property line in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. The grinder pump system approximately 5 foot from the property line in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. The third variance, grinder pump system 31.3 feet from Glen Lake in lieu of the required 50-foot setback. And the fourth variance, holding tanks 45.64 feet from Glen Lake in lieu of the required 50-foot setback. So this, again, is a public hearing on August 23rd, if this board approves that. So is there a
I'll
motion?
make a motion.
Okay, motion made by Councilperson Freer, seconded by Councilperson McNulty. Roll call vote on this, please.
Councilperson Stroud,
Yes?
Freer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
McNulty.
Yes.
All right, so the Child Rose public hearing will be on August 23rd for 97 Fitzgerald Road. All right, that's it for the Queensbury Board of Health. Is there a motion to move out of the Queensbury Board of Health?
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Brown,
Second.
seconded by Councilperson Freer. All those in favor of moving out of the Queensbury Board of Health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. We're out of the Queensbury Board of Health. The next segment, we have 8 resolutions before the town board tonight. I will explain each resolution to the public. If the public wishes to speak to any of the resolutions before this town board tonight, I will give them the opportunity to do so. If there's another topic that's not related to the resolutions, I will give you an opportunity later in the meeting to speak to that as well. But this part of the meeting is just for the resolutions. So our first resolution, 3.1, Caroline, please.
Resolution authorizing acceptance of American Rescue Plan Act Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Grant Funds and establishment of Capital Project Fund number 241.
All right, so we're getting $2,794,633.02 as part of the recovery fund. We got half the amount already, $1,397,316.51, and we'll receive the balance of, again, $1,397,316.51 in July of 2022. So this is accepting the total of the 2 million or 2.8 million to round off. And again, there's only certain things that you can spend this on in certain ways. In the simple form, you can support public health expenditures, COVID-related, address negative impacts caused by COVID on the public health, emergency situation, replace lost public sector revenue, provide premium pay for essential workers, or invest in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. We will be debating on what the causes are, but it seems like and it only appears to me, this is not anything that investing in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure seems to be one that would be easily supported by this board, but that's yet to be determined. All right, so this is accepting the total amount of $2,794,633.02. 3.2.
Resolution authorizing hiring of Shauna Baker as Office Specialist in Community Development Department.
All right, our Director of Planning, Zoning, and Code Compliance, actually Planning and Zoning, Ray Brown, needs to replace an office specialist position. We have one leaving, and he posted the availability of this position, reviewed the current county civil service list for the position, reviewed resumes, interviewed candidates, and has determined that Shauna Baker is his choice as the best choice for the office specialist in his department. So if this is approved by the town board, of course, Ms. Baker's will have to pass a pre-employment physical as required by town policy, complete a 26-week probationary period and other applicable civil service requirements, contingent upon the town successfully completing a background check as reasonably necessary to judge fitness for the duty for which she was hired, and drug and or alcohol screening. 3.3.
Resolution authorizing removal of Reliance Trust Company as trustee, appointment of State Street Bank and Trust Company as successor trustee, removal of Empower Retirement as service provider, and appointment of Nationwide as successor service provider of Town Deferred Compensation Plan.
All right. So every so often we review offerings, and this is a deferred compensation plan. It's an optional plan for the employees. They don't have to pursue this route, but those that do prefer to go to the state system. So this is a switch in deferred comp from Empower, Mass Mutual Hartford to the New York State Deferment Comp Plan with Nationwide. So that's what that resolution is. 3.4.
Resolution authorizing independent contractor agreement between Town of Queensberry and Kathleen Bazone.
All right, Kathleen Bazone is an independent contractor that helps us. We pay her $35 an hour to help us with environmental issues, and it's broad, I know, but in any task that this town board asked her to do. That's environmental related. For example, she heads up the Climate Smart Communities. That's a New York State program to help local governments take action to reduce greenhouse gas and adapt to climate change. And we're a registered community in that, thanks to Kathy, and we're looking to get the bronze certification. Harrison's been pushing for that, and I think we're going to get it. She also heads up the clean energy community. That's a NYSERDA program. It works to create a healthy and sustainable environment by investing in future, followed by clean energy solutions. She's worked on the EV stations, EV cars, recycling, solar. She's got us more than we pay her in grant money. So this allows up to $20,000 expenditure, up to $20,000 for 2021. We'll have to work on future years and how much we can set aside at a future date. That resolution is doing just that. Resolution 3.5.
Resolution authorizing town clerk to submit Queensberry Masonic Historical Society's petition for change of zone application to the Queensberry Planning Board and seeking secret lead agency status.
All right, the Queensberry Masonic Historical Society submitted a zoning change request or application to the board, and they would like to see in their zone, which is neighborhood residential zone, the allowance of a daycare center. And this, of course, will have to go through Warren County Planning Review as well. And Stu Baker, our senior planner, gives us some summary. The town board is hereby with this resolution is declaring its intent to seek lead agency status for seeker review of the requested zoning change and refer to the petition to the planning board for review and comment, and refer the petition to Warren County Planning Department for their review, and notification of all involved agencies in the town board's intent to seek seeker lead agency status. So if the town board approves this first step, we'll wait and see what the planning board does. If the planning board looks at this favorably and the town board looks at this favorably, we'll set public hearings and see what the public feels about this. But this is to do just what I said it was to do, is to refer it to the planning board and seek seeker lead agency status. This board seeks lead agency status. 3.6, please.
Resolution authorizing engagement of BN Communications to continue provision of professional public communications and community engagement services related to Jenkinsville area environmental assessment.
All right, we have a great team. We've been working with CT Mal. John Muncie is the engineer that we're working with. John's passed away. We're now still working with CT Mal and BN Agency, and we would like to continue working with BN Agency. We pay him $300 an hour. All he charges us for, and he's here tonight, is for work that he does. Now, he's anticipating that his work could be as much as $50,400. So this allows up to that as the highest amount. But again, it may not come anywhere near that. It may come near that. It depends on how busy we are. We pay him $300 an hour, and this is a continuation of contract that we've had with them. And we are seeking their professional public communications and community engagement services related to Jenkinsville and related to the Jenkinsville environmental assessment to make sure that they are informed, that we are informed, and that everybody understands where this is all going. So, does a very good job at that. 3.7.
Resolution authorizing technical services change order number 1 regarding professional engineering services of CT Mail Associates related to New York State DEC groundwater testing review and summary.
All right, and I made reference to this in my last one, in that it's time to renew the contracts. We have a little bit better idea about where we're going with the Jenkinsville environmental review. And like I said, John Muncie, who was the engineer, the hydrogeologist, who had recognition throughout the state, passed away suddenly. In his place is Kurt Moline. And we're also extending the contract for another $20,000 for a total of 30. We already basically went through the first time. And 3.8,
Resolution approving audited bills, warrants of 7/29/2021 and August 1st, 2021.
all right, totaling $378,917.03 and $355,269.91 respectively. All right, so before I open this to the public for their thoughts, concerns, questions, anything on behalf of the town board on resolutions 3.1 to 3.8?
Yeah, John, I got a discussion on 3.1, the ARPA grant. Where are the funds going to be, where are they being deposited now? And what kind of assurances do we have that they won't be used unless the town board approves the use of those funds? And I ask that because I've been involved in organizations before where we get a big grant of money and we're going to do this with that, but so many little things come up on the side that we lose track of the big amount.
Well, this has been set aside. And not only is New York State, but the federal government is watching what we do with that money. Whatever we do has to meet with their approvals.
Okay, but I'd like it to meet our approval too.
Well, it starts with us.
Okay, so
But for example, somebody mentioned, well, can't we do Ridge Road? No, because Ridge Road did not meet the federal requirements for bidding out the job. We met state, we met local, but you have to meet all three. And when you allocate this money, it has to meet federal, state, and your local standards. So it will start with this town board. We will have to decide as a consensus where we want to spend the money. It will have to be voted on, and we'll have to make sure that it meets all the requirements.
so it won't go into the general fund and be separate.
No, this is strictly controlled. Good question.
Thank you.
But I think, having worked in the federal government for a long time, I think we need to ask about Ridge Road at least one more time and maybe two more times because I
already asked. It does not meet the requirement.
Okay. It's too bad. Yeah.
Well,
But there'll be plenty to spend it.
it has to be new projects, I understood too, not something that's already in.
Well, that's the question. Yeah, there's a couple
In
questions.
any event, that project was just going on now, and if we can get out of here early, we'll go see it. It's, but, yeah,
Thank you.
so,
So 3.4, I'm glad that you got all of those different things that Kathy's been working on straightened out well. That's the best I've ever heard you go through those things. Thank you.
all right. Thank you. Anything else? Anything else?
I'm good.
All right. Public, any public, member of the public wish to speak to any of the resolutions before the town board tonight? All right, seeing none. Are there any resolutions that a town board member wishes to have pulled for a roll call vote? Hearing none. I'll entertain a resolution to approve resolutions 3.1 to 3.8.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Freer,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilperson Perone. Roll call vote on those, please.
Councilpersons Freer,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
McNulty,
Yes.
Stroud.
Yeah. All right, correspondence.
I do have, there was an email sent from Bernard Mudd sharing an article regarding homeowners raise a stink over past smoking neighbors. Sent that to the supervisor. I also have an email forwarded from the supervisor on August 3rd from Sammy Foda. And he's also speaking regarding the cannabis industry.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, thank you. All right, privilege of the floor. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to speak to the town board about any town topic. Anybody wish to do so? Please indicate your desire. Either or. Yes, please. Please come forward and identify yourself for the purpose of the record. Well, the microphone is actually a good microphone.
Okay.
So sit anywhere there and it should pick you up just fine.
Okay. Bear with me, this is my first time doing this.
Yeah, that's all right.
So good evening.
You're a small crowd. Yeah.
I recently opened the.
What's your name?
Oh, sorry. My name's Manuel Dalianos.
Can you spell your last name for me?
Sure, it's
VA?
V as in Victor, A, L, L, IANOS.
Thank you very much.
And your first name? I'm sorry.
Emmanuel, EMMANUEL.
Thank you.
So it's interesting that you brought up those emails. So I just opened up this smoke shop on Main Street. Anuga, right off of exit 18.
Okay.
And the main goal of it is to transition into the cannabis industry. I'm unsure if you've had anybody come forward about a dispensary, but I do not want to be a dispensary yet. I want to work with you guys to becoming a lounge with proper ventilation, kind of like a hookah lounge, where then people have a place to go and ingest their cannabis and not have the problem that Caroline had brought up of my stinky neighbor or people walking down the streets and kids passing by. I've been a responsible cannabis user and part of the cannabis industry for over 10 years now. And there needs to be someplace safe for people to go where it's not going to impede on the public, where some people don't want to smell it. That's only fair. Just like some people don't want to see drunk people. That's why they go to the bars. Same premise. So I wanted to come and introduce myself to all you guys and to see if maybe we can work towards me becoming a hookah lounge for now until the proper legislation is to come down to be a licensed cannabis lounge. But for now, it would give me the ability under the current state law to give people a place to go to ingest cannabis, because any place according to the law that you can ingest tobacco or hemp, you can now ingest cannabis, which would fall under a hookah lounge.
So you would be seeking from New York State a use license.
Yes.
And this town board has not, as of now, nor do I hear, although they have the right to change their mind, a desire to opt out.
Okay.
So, we have to make that decision by December 31st of this year.
Okay.
And so I'm hearing that we're comfortable with staying in and with both use and dispense.
Okay.
And those licenses, of course, will be issued by the state. We are allowed to make reasonable, practical time, place, and manner restrictions, which the board is thinking about what's appropriate when it's not appropriate. Odor is one of those things. Distance from a church or a school might be something we take a look at.
Absolutely. And I completely agree. I actually read in the post that there was a meeting last Monday that you guys had touched on, and I was actually very upset that I didn't catch it sooner, because I would have loved to come down and speak to you guys then. But this is just, I feel like if I could work towards a hookah thing, it sets us in that direction once we finish everything else out and so on and so forth. And if you guys aren't opting out and you guys are in, it's just, I hear a lot of complaints in town, and I don't want the acts of a few to impact the acts of the many, because I don't think it's fair that people have a place they can go right now. I think it's
So
crazy.
where's your experience in the industry?
I took care of over 30,000 CBD cones in Orange County for 4 years for a company called Metal Lake.
Orange County, California?
No, down in New York. For the last 4 years, during the whole CBD industry boom, I was helping with those cones, and I've been a glass blower for 10 years. And that's why I opened the smoke shop. I hurt my shoulder. I can't really make glass anymore, but it's the industry I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to come forward for you guys and at least give you somebody, because you said nobody spoke last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, and the door's open.
Yeah, so I'm like shooting you right now. So this is all new for
Well,
me.
you're doing
I've
fine.
never done any kind of public speaking or anything like that. My shop is mom and pop. We live in Queensbury.
Yeah.
We live in Homestead Village. We were going to open up our shop before COVID hit. And instead, we just kind of hunkered down, and I was able to get a great location right on the border of Glens Falls and be part of the community, have my business be in the community I'm a part of. So I figured I'd just say hi.
No, I appreciate that.
So to extend his business in this hookah lounge?
Yes.
Okay. Is that something that planning board has to approve? I mean, in terms of use?
Well, it depends on what's in the hookah.
So right now, it would be hemp or any hemp product. So you can't smoke tobacco indoors. So even now, any hookah lounge that you go to is a hemp product it's a flavored hemp product that they're consuming. But hemp now is cannabis according to New York State law. So I can't sell it. I don't want to sell it yet. So I have my license and I go through the proper channels. But it's still giving the ability where if people come in with their own product and they use it, then it's a safe space.
And you're saying hemp as in cannabis?
Sure, because hemp is hemp now, according to the way legislation is coming down.
Okay.
So that's why I'm trying to see, can I give it away for free? Come on in, here's some free stuff. Go upstairs, enjoy yourself. That's what I'm trying to figure out here because there's no access for anybody now. So now everybody's continuing to do what we're trying to avoid, and that's buy stuff on the black market. So
Did you watch the meeting 2 weeks ago on TV?
no, I did not. I was actually
I explained the state agencies, and they're creating their rules and regulations as we talk, and there's 3 of them that interact.
Okay.
And it's a little bit involved.
Okay.
And so we're waiting to hear from them. So a lot of your questions hopefully will be answered
Okay, great.
by them. We're not setting those regulations. Basically, we opt in, we opt out, we can set time, place, and manner restrictions.
Okay.
If you opt out, you don't get any of the revenue benefits.
I know, which is crazy if you ask me.
Well,
And I
John,
think that's-
John, are we having, at the next workshop, we're gonna have a set aside to talk, with Craig about some of those restrictions we could put in?
we can always
I
talk
think-
about those, yeah.
Yeah, so that might be a good opportunity for you to come. We'll advertise that as well.
Well, the restrictions don't have to be in place by December 31st, although organizations such as Emmanuel, he could be in operation sometime in 2022. No one's expecting this to be laid out and ready until probably the end of 2022 is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. And that's where my main concern comes from, because the current legislation, as it's written, says that cannabis can now be consumed freely wherever tobacco and tobacco products can be consumed. So, in a hookah lounge, if you can consume hemp and tobacco products, why wouldn't you be able to also consume cannabis as long as I wasn't selling? Because obviously I can't sell it.
Yeah.
We know that. I can't sell it. I'm not allowed to. That's obvious. So by working with the town to become a licensed hookah shop, will that give people a place where they could go? And that's really what I'm curious about. Like, if I install a proper ventilation in the building, so there's a safe space for people to ingest, and then we don't have neighbors emailing guys and
Yeah,
people walking down Main Street looking at joint.
I'm sure New York State will come out with a book.
Well, we have a lot of experience in other states already. We're not the leader here. Colorado's been at this for a while. And so I would suggest that, while New York will have its own bureaucratic, infrastructure, I would look at some of the best practices of Colorado and Oregon and Alaska, which have had these laws in place for several years.
I think we're doing a much better job than that, because you can't put a Berkeley, which is great, in New York State. You can't grow, process, retail, deliver everything, live, and that's a beautiful thing.
And as part of this, just to speak to that letter we received, and guys, refresh my memory, but part of the law was that you could personally be allowed to grow, was it a dozen plants or whatever? So
6 per
if you're
person.
concerned about smelling pot, your neighbor could be growing it on his porch and smoking it, and he doesn't have to go buy it. It doesn't have to come from someone who's selling it, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And but if that person growing it wants a place to go and consume it,
Oh, right, exactly. That's where you come from.
That's why
Yeah.
I want to give people a safe space
Mhm.
to come and consume it where they're not.
Yeah.
Out in the public, walking down Main Street, anything like that.
So as New York State comes out with the regulations, if you could email me and, on the website, town supervisor, I have your name, you have a shop on Main Street. I would like to work with you as we move forward with this,
Okay, great.
okay?
That'd be great, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts with
Thank
me.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, that's Ward 4?
Of course. So we can meet, we'll talk after this meeting.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, sir.
Good evening.
Ted McNeil. I believe I've been talking to Mr. Greer a lot lately. As of this summer, I live on 14 Old Aviation Road, right next to the 4-acre lot.
Yes.
It's forever wild. I've had a squatter this year camping out in the driveway that used to go to a residence that was torn down on the property. I got the town involved and made a few phone calls. I talked to Kevin Garrett. He said, come up to the town supervisor. As soon as I did, I said, my daughter's there, my granddaughter's there. This guy's like literally parking all night right there next to my property in his vehicle and living there. They put up a set of sawhorses that say keep out and do not enter. That worked. This person has moved up into a clearing further up the property and parks there all night. So I don't see him. I didn't have any problem with that. Trouble is now, as of this weekend, there's a bunch of litter thrown over the sawhorses, and I think it's just an act of screw you, buddy. I know you're the one chasing on my favorite spot, so I'm going to litter here now if I can't park here. That's the message that I got. And as we speak, all that garbage is still there. There's a disposable lighter, there's a razor, there's other disposable or decomposable food items, garbage, cans and bottles, everything. Looks like just someone just took a garbage can and threw it out there. Gotten the police involved. The one night, this man was loud and obnoxious and rude and chased him out because the phone call's coming from me and not anybody from the town to have him vacated. Problem with that is, anyone I've talked to in the town says he's not supposed to be there. So I'm a dog chasing his tail. And I've heard that no one's supposed to be on the property all night long, but I can't do anything about it to have it removed because someone from the town has to do it. So I guess the biggest thing I've talked to Mr. Freer about this is maybe some signs on that street where no parking after 9 p.m. and then no trespassing on the property. That would solve anybody from parking there all night long. I've had this problem before, believe it or not. I had someone camped out there and scared and spooked my daughter. And she called the police. That guy left, and he never ever came back. So this has happened before. But this gentleman, I don't know. I haven't gone up to him this day and age. Might be the last thing you ever do. We walk up to a stranger and knock on their door. So I haven't engaged myself. But again, I called the police just this weekend. And they said the same thing. I think even the patrolman mentioned your name, Mr. Stroud. I'm sure he doesn't want litter, this kind of garbage thrown on the town property. So he conveyed to me that if I have success by coming up and do it. So I think I even emailed the site last night to you.
Well, I think the individual is well aware he's not supposed to be parking there. We'll work harder at getting that message across. Possibly no parking signs. I don't believe that we can put up no trespassing because it's a public park. I fought for 4 years to make sure that it was a public park, okay?
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. See, I'm
Yeah.
unknowing about.
Yeah, well, they had a big Cracker Barrel development being proposed there,
Yes.
and I spent a lot of sleepless nights and eventually won that issue, and the town owns it, and it's a public park. It's yours, as well as his, but he's abusing it, and that he's sleeping overnight on that, and we'll work on that with you.
Well, there you go. I mean, not so much the no trespassing, but the no parking.
Yeah,
That might be the
yeah,
big
we'll
one.
work. We'll try and get there with this guy.
Yeah, and obviously our parks close at night, so that's kind of.
See, the police, they don't know what to do about it. There's no signage. I think they're going to go off the sign for them to add on.
Yeah, well, I'll work with Harrison. We'll come up with a fix for you. We
Well, I
won't forget
appreciate
about
it.
it. We will. And thank
I've been
you.
there in that residence for 25 years, and the sanctity of that lot is beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
someone getting out there just. I work rotating shifts, so there's a lot of times they're not there at night.
Yeah.
If you know someone is sitting there all night, their mind gets crazy. You know what I mean? They can do all kinds of things when you're not there. So.
Well, and I know the Strainers that lived up the road from you.
Were you a teacher? I think my daughter's 7.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
she was talking about you last
Stephanie
night.
McNeil. Okay.
She said, just mentioned, she said, he's a nice guy. He's going to probably help you out. So that's what the patrolman said too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you.
And I talked to Mr. Freer a few times about it. So
We'll work it.
We'll get right on it.
But I thought I'd at least like to come out and meet you
No,
guys.
thank you for bringing that to our attention. Otherwise, we wouldn't know. I do check, and I did check with that guy being there, and Highway put up a couple barricades, and the guy's just playing a game with us.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.
See you.
Anybody else wish to speak to the town board about any town topic? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to town board discussions. Let's start with Tim.
I got a couple, I don't know if you saw the reports of it. There was another accident on Corinth Road last week. No one was hurt, but it was right outside Cary Road coming out of the medical facility again, the Hudson Headwaters facility. I spoke to Dave Dool. I've talked to Craig, Kevin Hojos from the town. I'd really like to get some movement.
County.
From the county, thank you, on that traffic study. I've got a note into Kevin now to say what's going on. Craig said it's all in Kevin's court right now, but if I can get help from you as our representative on the county board, especially as schools are starting to open up again, they're going gangbusters on that new X-ray facility. So that's going to open up in the estimate of another 100 cars per day.
That's Adirondack Radiology is moving there, yes.
Right, they're saying 100 cars. We got a couple more factories going in on, or warehouses going in on Cary Road. So, John, anything you can do to help to get that study done would be appreciated. And I know Mark's here, and I know Harrison wants to talk about it. But in terms of Jenkinsville and the announcement last week, I'd just like to point out that our approach going into Jenkinsville was always kind of a two-pronged. We wanted to find out who was responsible, but this board had also said, had contracted out with the engineers to come up with options for bringing water there. So I think it's, while the results are still inconclusive and it's being worked, I think our path to go down two roads at the same time is going to show some fruit because we're going to be able to get word out to the Jenkinsville residents sooner. So I think we did well there, and we're going to continue to monitor it until we can get a solution.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's all.
Yep.
You know, we have 4 other Queensbury town supervisors that you should advocate for that
Well, for this,
county work.
I have, but for this meeting, I wanted to go to John, but thank you.
Yeah, no, Kevin and I have a good relationship. He's a very good person at the county. We're lucky to have him. He's always responsive and returns all his phone calls. He's 100%.
And I know he's a busy guy too, but there's you mentioned it too, there's an agency that does those kind of studies?
Well, there's there's agencies that do that.
Okay, there was something that
Chazen Engineering has done studies.
Yeah, we've had them do a study on Town Road.
Okay, yeah, the county had someone and they were checking workloads and stuff like that. I don't want to have another accident.
Study done for West Mountain Road, especially with the intersections of Luzerne and Aviation and Sherman. And he has some potential solutions, and one of the solutions he has put up 4-way stops.
Oh, we had a conversation. That is going to happen. Okay. It's just they're going to be a 4-way stop at Aviation with the highlighted, the lights on it as well,
flashing.
and Luzerne Road as well, so we can see if we can protect our cemetery fence.
Anything else?
No, that's one. Thank you.
Right, thank you. George?
I don't have much other than to repeat something that I mentioned in the last meeting, and that is that I talked about people who were just dumping items on the side of the road. And I mentioned that last meeting, and between 2 weeks, I received a call from somebody who brought to my attention that somebody had dumped a couch on Dixon Road, and it was sitting there for weeks. And it was interesting because I drive by there every day, and you look forward, you don't think about looking on the side of the road. But he brought it to my attention. Sure enough, there it was. So just again, people, if you have to get rid of things, dispose of them appropriately. Don't be using the town to dump your unwanted items on the side of the road.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know why people. I know why people do it. It's convenience, out of their hair. They didn't have to pay whatever it is at the transfer station for a couch. It's not expensive.
Well, the positive thing was I did call the highway department. I did speak to our new deputy superintendent. It was very nice. He picked up the phone. I explained the issue. he took care of it, so.
Mark Demiris,
Yep.
very good choice on Dave Dolsky, yeah. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, George, thanks. Harrison?
Well, let me start by saying if you haven't seen the UN climate report, it's scary. We're in a climate crisis, but they did have the optimism if we're not over the cliff yet. So there are things we can do to change the future for climate, but we definitely are in a crisis. I sent an email just real quickly before the meeting. I just wanted to make sure people realize that there is a fairly new Jenkinsville assessment area. I brought a copy if anybody in the audience wants it, but it's available and it's pretty thorough, 5 pages. I think, Mark, you've been through it and you continue to help with making sure that we stay on track. We had a brief discussion just before we got started about mandatory COVID vaccinations. I'm not ready to make a recommendation yet, but I think we need to consider it and see where things go and figure out what our options are. But I'm worried that we're getting lackadaisical and we're going to have people be spreading COVID when it's not really necessary. So. And then we're going to have our first short-term rental community advisory meeting next Monday night at 7:30 over in your office, I hope. And people are invited. We'll get a YouTube and an agenda and some minutes out to see if there's anything that we should change in our current rules and keep track of what is going on in the industry and in the ecosystem. And our friends who are following it closely keep us abreast of lots of issues associated with short-term rentals. We do have a law that's been on the books, seems to be effective. It's a moving target. It's a big industry, and trying to make sure that we stay on track is the purpose of getting together with Dave Atten, Tim, myself, and several folks who have interest in short-term rentals next Monday.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Nope, that's good. Thank you, Harrison.
Did you say next Wednesday?
Monday.
Next Monday.
7:30.
All right. There's no reason in the world, if you got a dog in Queensbury, in New York State, it has to be licensed. It has to have rabies shots. You got a dog, you're the owner, that's your responsibility. So the town clerk wants me to remind the public, and we're on TV8, Article 7, Section 109 of the Agriculture and Markets Law requires any and all dogs over the age of 4 months to be licensed with the municipality they reside in. All dogs residing in Queensbury must be licensed. These licenses can be purchased at the town clerk's office, where each dog is issued an identifiable numeric tag. And it's not expensive. It's
$12, 11 or 12.
how much is the
5
license?
and 10 for
5 and 10.
seniors, and 10 and 15 for anybody under 65. So $10 for a spayed or neutered, and then 15 if not. So
Anyway, it's not expensive. All right. Residents must provide a current rabies certificate when applying for the license. If the dog cannot be given a rabies shot for health reasons, a certified statement from a licensed veterinarian stating such is required. Dog licenses are valid for 1 year. The license renewals are mailed directly to the dog owner 1 month prior to the year's expiration. You can now renew your dog license online as long as the rabies vaccination is current in the town's database. Kindly call the Queensbury Town Clerk's office if you have any questions, concerns, or need to update your dog's records. Please be aware delinquent dog licenses are subject to a $100 fine. So it's going to be a lot cheaper for you to go and get the license than to pay the fine. All right, and I will repeat that in 2 weeks and more, maybe, huh?
John, or Caroline, is there an issue with our doors being picked up without licenses, or is it just an annual plea to have people get their dogs licensed?
Just trying to educate the public that
So it's not an
every
issue.
dog is supposed to be
Thanks.
it's just an issue when they don't respond and get the dog renewed. So.
All right, so Kathy Fry, she had an issue. The town has a piece of property where the state police department is. That's town property. That's part of the deal, if you will. You want the state police to be in your town, you have to supply them with a building, you have to caretake the building and so forth. We do not have a Queensbury Police Department. So we have the state police and we have Warren County Sheriff's Department. And they both do good service for the town. In any event, the back of their property towards Hillcrest Drive, we had some trees that had limbs that were leaning and bending over onto somebody's property, on Miss Fry's property. I got a hold of Building and Grounds. They went right over and took care of it. And she sent an email thanking the town board for addressing her issue so quickly. Okay, that's it for me. Anything else for the good of the order? Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion made by Tim McNulty, seconded by George Moreau. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.
The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls is proud to partner with Central Insurance Companies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.